Peer Supervision or Consultation with Gina Coe and Sandra Collins.
So this week, in response to the video of Macey's lived experience, we want to model what it would be like to come to a peer supervision or peer consultation process. And this is something that many of us maintain throughout our professional careers, either in an informal way or in a very formal way. And so today, Gina is going to come as the therapist working with Macey.
Thanks, Sandra. And I just want to reiterate what you said about consultation. It's highly, highly important as we move forward in our careers. We consult, consult, and consult. So I've prepared some questions today. Working with Macey at times, may feel a little stuck, or you wanted to bounce ideas off of my colleagues about how to explore certain areas of Macey's life. So this first one is I'm wondering about Macy's, asking Macy who she had in her life when she was younger as a child that she feels some secured attachment with. So someone she can lean on. And I'm just wondering, how do you think I can ask that question?
Mm.
So,
Well, I really liked the videos that Gina Wong included in this chapter and learned a lot from them. And the idea of earned security was a really interesting concept and important concept, I think. And so I think one of the things that Gina invited was us to think about people in our lives who offered that sense of security, who may not necessarily have been our primary caregivers. And so when I watch Macey and her story, I have a sense that there may be some challenges in terms of attachment with her parents, in terms of the emotions that she's expressing. So I wonder if it might be interesting to see who would Macey identify as someone who she felt secure with, who she connected with in a different way than her parents, who was kind of that solid place that she could go to express herself or to think through things. And like Gina suggested in your video, maybe invite Macey to really picture that in a very concrete way, like where were you and what do you remember and what were you wearing and what's it like to be in the moment in that experience of relationship with this person, and what do you notice, what do you sense? Those kinds of questions that kind of pull that experience forward.
thank you. This is very helpful. And it's just making me think about a book I'm reading. It's actually called Attached. And it's about adult experiences of feeling attached or not to your romantic partner in when you're an adult. So, and the authors talked about how when you're young you might have maybe not such secured attachment with your family members. It might be more anxious or avoidant attachment, but then when you find a partner later in life and you can cultivate this secured attachment, that could change, right, in terms of who again do you lean on, who you're with and you feel seen. So it makes, attachment is such a important topic and to explore with clients. So the second question I'm coming with today, how would you explore Macy's feelings of suffocation by her parents? Where'd you go with that?
The thing that I kind of resonated when you were talking from the feeling state that she's expressing is inviting her to do what we talked about in response to the first question, Gina, was position herself in her childhood place and think about when she experienced that. So this is probably not a new emotion. So what other situations resonate with that emotion of suffocation? And of course, again, with the cautions around choice, that it's always her choice to either to go there or not go there. But there might be some interesting information to be gathered there about the history of that emotion, and partly because it's such a strong emotion. So where did that start, and what was the story around that, and who was she with, and what was she experiencing as a little person in that moment? So it was just one of my wonderments about it.
And I agree, it is a very strong word. Even when you're repeating it, I'm taking deep breaths because it is such a powerful, like when you hear the word suffocation, it's like suffering, can't breathe, trying to fight for your life. And so, yeah, thank you. I really appreciate your responses to this one. I have a question for you, actually. Do you have any thoughts for me in terms of my work with, or questions for me in terms of my work with Macey here?
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, Gina, is your own experience of attachment and how this could play in. Gina Wong, in her reflections that precede this video, was really clear about the importance of us as therapists processing and owning our own narrative and figuring out the coherence of our narrative, the gaps in our narrative, what the meaning is in terms of our sense of secure attachment. And so I'm kind of wondering for you what that would be like for you to think about your story and your narrative and how that resonates or doesn't resonate with Macey's narrative as it begins to emerge, because it's important for us to kind of hold that lens of what's happening for us in the moment. And I don't know if that resonates with you or not, but that was one thing that I was thinking about.
That's a really, really good question, Sandra. And working with Macey, in moments, I feel a lot of connection to her. I feel some similarities, such as the lack of emotional connection and talk with parents. On the other hand, how she uses the word suffocation, for me, was more avoidant, actually. As I may have shared in other videos or writing, that my dad, left when I was little, left my mom and my siblings, and then I was raised by mom and extended family members, but my mom and I never really had any emotional talk, any conversations about feelings, or it was very much, so we don't have a close relationship. So when I'm working with Macey, I need to be cognizant about when she talks about the lack of emotional connection. Okay, I also felt that growing up, and I still do, but it doesn't mean my experience is exactly like hers, right? So in my own work, in my own therapeutic work as a client, I do talk about some of these with my therapist, right? And I recall one therapist that I just met for one time, and I never went back to her again. It was because she said, "Oh, Gina, you're so successful. You have all these degrees. You're doing so well. Forget about your mom." And I just, after that a few words, I realized this is not the therapist for me, right? Because I don't think it didn't seem that she got it. So thank you for the question, Sandra. It'd be a continuous process of reflecting and also being mindful that just because Macey is from a similar cultural background, there's a lack of emotional connection with her parents, it doesn't mean it's my own experience. So thank you for today. Now with the questions I brought forth and the question that Sandra asked at the end, and how you and your input and responses, I feel more, I'm really excited to see Macey next week to share some of this with her. What I've realized is that clients really appreciate when therapists take time to consult and to gather ideas and then bring it back to the session. And it's almost like there's more people bearing witness. There's more people hearing, validating. So thank you. I'm excited to see Macey next week.
You're welcome. Glad it was helpful.